Welcome to the channel. Today we're sharing a cheating story you won't believe. If you enjoy it, please like and subscribe. Let's get started. I thought I had it all: a loving wife, a great job, and everything I could ever want. But that dream fell apart one night. My wife, Olivia, who I cared about more than anything, was having a secret affair with my boss. At first, it was just late-night texts and sneaky glances, but it quickly turned into something much worse. Watching the ugly truth come out left me in shock, as her lies and betrayal came to light. Feeling broken, I made up my mind to face the truth and try to pick up the pieces of my broken life. Mason Harrison sat in the dark, alone, thinking hard. Not long ago, he thought he had everything: a great job at a good company that paid well, a nice home, and a wife who loved him. He still had the job and the home, but his love life was now in pieces. He thought back to when he first met Olivia, his wife for almost 4 years. She had just joined the company he worked for, the Anderson Financial Services. This company helped small businesses handle their money. Olivia started by doing small office tasks that needed to be done. Then about 9 months ago, she became the executive assistant to Logan Carter, Ethan's boss. Ryan was part of the family that started the company. His granddad set it up, and his dad, Samuel, was the current big boss. Samuel put his son Ryan into the business right after he finished college, making him learn from the ground up. Ryan did well and got moved up to regional manager, only answering to Samuel and the board. One day Ryan would take over everything, but that was still a long way off. Ethan really looked up to Samuel. To him, Samuel was like a second dad, helping Ethan adjust to normal life after he got hurt in Iraq. They met while Ethan was doing tough exercises to get better. Samuel, who was there for a meeting, stopped to watch Ethan and was impressed. Over lunch that day, Samuel learned that Ethan had just finished his business studies before going off to fight. They talked a lot, and Samuel found out more about Ethan's drive and his past. Samuel liked the young Marine a lot and offered him a job then and there. Ethan was taken aback but said yes and started working for Samuel the next Monday. That was almost 8 years back. Ethan got better with help and put his all into work, also taking night classes for his MBA. Then he met Olivia. He liked her a lot from the start. After making sure work was okay with it, he asked her out. They dated, fell in love, and got married. Samuel shocked Ethan by paying for their trip to Greece for their honeymoon. 2 years after getting married, Samuel hired his son Ryan. Ethan hoped Ryan would be like his dad, but he was not. Ryan liked to show off, always reminding people who his dad was and that he would one day get the top office. Ryan ended up making everyone not like him. One day, Samuel talked to Ethan about his son, sharing the same worries others had. "Soon he'll need to make him the regional manager," Samuel said. "I get it," Ethan replied. "I'm hoping you can set a good example and help Ryan get used to the job," Samuel said. "Can you do that?" "He'll try," Ethan said, "but it won't be easy." "Be honest about him, Ethan," Samuel said. "Leave out that he's my son. Tell me the truth." "All right," Ethan said. "He thinks too highly of himself to do well. I think he won't listen, flirts too much, and uses his name to get what he wants. Olivia says he's just asking for trouble, talking too much about the women he chases." Samuel shook his head. "I feared that," he said. "His mom spoiled him since he was small, let him do too much. I thought bringing him in might help him grow up a bit. They'll have to chat with him." "So when's Michael Reynolds going to stop working?" Ethan asked. Michael Reynolds, the big boss now, had been here a long time and everyone liked him. Had been talking about stopping work for a while and got a place up in Montana so he and his wife could enjoy the quiet while they were still not too old. "In the next half a year or so," Samuel said. "He really wants to." "I get it, honestly," Ethan said. Samuel left the room saying he'd keep in touch. Ethan knew he meant it. There were things Ethan noticed in Ryan that he didn't share with Samuel. Looking back, he thought maybe he should have. A few months after that talk, Bill stopped working, and Samuel gave Ryan his job. Ryan started changing things quick. Some changes were okay, but Ethan wasn't sure about some others. Still, he kept doing his work, trying not to let Ryan bother him too much. Ryan did change as he got used to the job, but Ethan didn't really like how Ryan liked to control everything too much, which annoyed the team. He also moved people around a lot, sometimes into jobs they couldn't do well in. One day, about 9 months back, Ryan walked into Ethan's office. He sat down as Ethan was talking to a client on the phone. When Ethan finished, he saw Ryan smiling in a way he didn't like. "What do you need, Ryan?" Ethan asked. "I'm thinking about getting a new EA," he said, "and I think Olivia would be great for it." "My wife, Ethan said. That Olivia? Ryan nodded, still smiling. Yep, the same one, Ryan said. What's wrong with Gretchen? Ethan asked. Nina Lawson had worked as Bill's EA for years. Nothing, Ryan said. Looks like she's planning to stop working soon and the office could do with a fresh face. Ethan thought to himself it seemed more like Ryan wanted a new pretty face around. Have you talked to Olivia yet? Ethan said. Not yet, he answered. Wanted to see what you thought first. Oh? Ethan asked, curious. Thanks, but why me? I just want to know what she's like. Ryan replied. Living with her and all. Is she tough to handle or is she always happy? Is she fun or all business? I want to know what to expect if I hire her. Ethan didn't like where this was heading. Listen, Ryan, Ethan said firmly. Olivia and I are happy together. Yes, she's great to be with and she's my wife. Also, she's a pro. If you think she's right for the job, then ask her. It's up to her if she takes it or not. But remember, she's my wife. Ethan made sure to stress that point. I get it, Ryan said. You've heard the talk and it bugs you. I would feel the same if I had someone as stunning as Olivia. The job involves travel, sometimes even nights away. Are you cool with that? I trust Olivia, Ethan stated. If she's okay with the job, knowing it includes travel, then she knows the limits and I expect you to respect those limits and our marriage. Sure thing, Ethan buddy, Ryan smirked. You and my dad are close. He admires you and so do I. Trust me, I would never mess with you and Olivia. Better not, Ethan said. Who knows, Ryan added. Could even land you a higher spot too. That evening, Ethan talked to Olivia. Did Ryan talk to you today? He asked as she finished up their dinner. Yeah, she replied. He hinted at wanting me to be his new assistant. And how do you see it? Ethan asked. It would mean going places and staying up late, but it would also bring a good pay bump, she said. We sure could use the extra cash. Thinking of having kids someday. Why, is something on your mind? I just can't forget what you said about him being trouble, Ethan said. Do you still feel that way? I would not be honest if I said it didn't worry me, she said. I do hear things. Do you trust me? She looked at him, waiting for an answer. Of course I trust you, he said, but him, I don't trust him at all. He stopped by my office today to ask about you. I found it odd. Really? That's just him, she said. What did you say? Her eyebrows went up. I said you're wonderful to be with, and that's the truth, Ethan said. I made sure he knew we're happy together and that he should respect that. I would want that too, she said. Good, Ethan said. So, are you taking the job? I think so, she answered. That night, they shared a loving moment before sleep. She took the job like they thought. She was away every other week for 2 days and worked late 3 times a week. Ethan did his best to be there for Olivia in her new job. He watched out but saw nothing wrong with how she did her job. Then something bad happened. Just over 5 months back, Samuel had a big health scare, a stroke right at work. They called for help and took him to the hospital, but he didn't make it through the night. He was gone before he woke up. It hit everyone hard at work, and they all went to his funeral. Ethan and Olivia were at a loss, seeing how many showed up. Ryan thought he'd step into his dad's big chair and be the boss after his dad passed away suddenly. But the company's big shots didn't agree. They said Ryan was just not ready and picked David Lee to fill in until they found someone right for the job. That hit Ryan hard, and he decided to show he could do it. He had Olivia working all hours, night after night, and took her on trips most weekends. It didn't matter if Ethan and Olivia had plans. The schedule was tough on both of them, and it started to hurt their marriage. First off, they never got close anymore. Then he saw changes in what Olivia wore. She used to dress all smart for work, but now she chose outfits that showed a bit more. Also, she wasn't the same with him. She used to be so warm and kind, but now she seemed upset a lot and would snap at him over small stuff. He thought it might just be because she was so stressed with her job. Then one Sunday, when Olivia got back from an Austin trip, he knew they had to talk. Olivia, he said, we need to chat. About what? She replied, voice sharp. About us, he said. I barely see you. What Ryan's making you do, it's too much. It's hurting you and it's hurting us. We need some time off, just us, to fix things. I'm sorry, she said after a pause, sounding tired. Ryan's just got so much going on. It's a mess. I can't just step away. Tell Ryan you're taking a week off, he urged. You've got the time. We need this or we're not going to make it. She was quiet for a bit, thinking. He could tell she felt troubled too. At last, she nodded. You're right, Ethan, she agreed. I really need a break. Ryan's been making me work real hard these last 5 months. They'll talk to him tomorrow. Promise? Please do, Ethan said. The next day, Olivia came home looking happier than Ethan had seen in a long while. What happened? Ethan asked. I talked to Ryan like I said I would, and he agreed we should take it easy, she said. He said we could take next week off if we like. But we have to go to his party Friday night. Party? Ethan asked. What kind of party? Just a small meet-up with him and some friends, she said. Ethan wasn't too keen on this because he wasn't a fan of Ryan, and he thought it wasn't good to get too chummy with your boss. As they say, being too close can lead to trouble. Plus, he was unsure about the other guests. Do you know any of these folks? Ethan asked. I've met a few, she said. They're mostly Ryan's college pals, but a couple work with clients. I'm not sure who else will be there, though. I see, Ethan said. Okay, but you have to make sure you're home at a normal time this week. Can you do that? I think so, she said. But we have to work on the Henderson account on Wednesday. Ryan is having a dinner with them and he needs me there. Ethan knew about the Carter Engineering account. It had become important because Samuel had been in charge before he got sick. Okay, Ethan said. Wednesday night, but you have to be home at a normal time the rest of the week. Deal? She smiled and hugged him. Deal, she whispered, kissing him. The next day, Ryan came to Ethan's office and sat down like he always does with that annoying grin. What can I do for you, Ryan? Ethan asked. Olivia told me you guys are good for Friday night, Ryan said. Olivia? Ethan thought. Yeah, we talked a bit last night, Ethan said. If she gets back early this week and we have next week to just be us. Sure. We've got that meal with the Henderson people on Wednesday, but I swear no late nights after that. What sort of party is this? Asked Ethan. And who's going to be there? Just a chill hangout, Ryan said. Some college pals of mine, one works with a client, but it's laid back. Dress casual. Just bring Olivia. Yeah, Ethan took this in and gave a nod. Ryan had more to say. Hey, Ethan pal, Ryan said, making Ethan cringe a bit. You were spot on. Olivia's great to have around. Thanks for not fussing over her needing time to work. She's really good at what she does. I would be stuck without her. Ethan wasn't sure how to feel. Good to hear you like her work, Ryan, he said. Just one thing. Yeah, Ryan said. Do you call her Olivia to her face? Ethan asked. Sure, he said. Why? Just wondering, Ethan said. That's all. That night, he talked to Olivia about it while they were having dinner. Do you let Ryan call you Olivia? He asked. Just wondering, 'cause you never let me use that name. I guess since he's my boss, he can call me what he wants, said Olivia. Ethan let it go, but it bothered him. The rest of the week was pretty good, and apart from Wednesday night, she was back home on time and they were close every chance they got. Come Friday, after Ethan pulled on jeans and a simple shirt, he watched Olivia get ready for the party and noticed the dress she picked. He had never seen it before and wondered when she had bought it. It was way shorter than her other dresses and showed a lot more skin. Wow, Ethan said. You look amazing. Maybe we should just stay in. She flashed a smile. Nope, she replied. That's for later. And where did you get that dress? Ethan asked. It's not like your usual style. I picked it up in Austin, she answered. Ryan wanted me to wear it tonight. That figures, he thought. Be careful, Ethan warned. Someone might get the wrong message. She laughed. I don't think so, she said. Everyone knows the limits. They better, Ethan said, wrapping her in a hug. He tried to kiss her, but she stopped him. Later, she said. I don't want to ruin my makeup. They headed to Ryan's place, a fancy two-story townhouse. When they rang the bell, Ryan welcomed them in. Ethan could faintly smell weed and felt uneasy. 3 guys around Ryan's age showed up, and Ryan introduced them to Ethan. This is our main man, Mason Harrison, Ryan announced with a wide grin. And these are Zachary Johnson, Robert Davis, and Daniel Brooks. Nick works for Henderson, by the way. Ethan met all 3 guys with a handshake, wondering why Ryan called him the man of the hour. He also thought about why Ryan didn't introduce Olivia to them. Did she know them already? Ryan then turned to Olivia. Wow, Olivia, you look so hot in that dress, he said. I knew it. Don't you guys think so? He asked, looking at the others. They all agreed, almost drooling over her. Olivia smiled and spun around, showing off the dress. They let out whistles of liking. Ethan had to agree she did look nice, but he wasn't happy with how Ryan was acting. Oops, where are my good ways? Ryan said. Let me get you 2 something to drink. Olivia, white wine for you, right? And you, Ethan? That works for me too, Ethan said. I really don't drink a lot. My body can't take much. Ethan didn't really have a problem with drinks. In truth, he could outdrink them if he wanted. He used to drink a lot but stopped while in the Marines. The last time he drank too much, he almost hurt someone bad. He promised himself he wouldn't drink like that again. "No worries," Ryan said. "They'll be right back." Ryan came back with 2 drinks and gave them to Ethan and Olivia. Olivia drank a lot from hers quickly while Ethan sipped his slowly. Ethan felt something was off and decided to stay as clear-headed as possible. Ryan asked everyone to sit in the living room. Ethan followed Olivia and saw her choose a small sofa. He wanted to sit by her, but Ryan sat there first. Ethan then sat on a couch across from them and kept an eye on his wife. Ryan caught his look. "Sorry, pal," he said. "Just used to sitting here." "It's fine," Ethan replied, watching his wife closely. She looked back but couldn't make out his face. They sat for a bit just making light talk. Ryan glanced at Ethan before he began. "My dad said you were a Marine," he noted. Ethan gave a nod. "Yep, I was in for 5 years, then got sent home for health reasons," he shared. Kevin peered at Ethan. "Marines, right?" He poked. "I hear they're tough. You ever fight? Ever take someone out?" Slowly, Ethan nodded. He didn't like it when folks brought this up. "Yes," he spoke softly. "Which? Fight or take someone out?" Kevin pushed. "Both," replied Ethan. Olivia stared at him, shocked. This was new to her. He spent years trying to push those memories away. "You never mentioned that," she said. "Don't like talking about it," he answered. Lucas pulled out a big bag. Ethan knew it as weed. It was okay to buy here, but he wasn't into it, having tried once in high school. "Hey," Lucas chimed. "Got some good stuff. Want to try?" "Sure," Ryan jumped in. The rest, including Olivia, said yes. Ethan hadn't seen her smoke. Not even weed. Lucas rolled a big one and lit it. He passed it around, and all took a puff. When it came to Ethan, he waved it off. "No thanks," he said. "Not for me." Nick moved it on to Ryan. Ryan took a puff and faced Ethan. "Loosen up, Ethan," he pressed. "It's just a bit of fun." "You do you," Ethan replied. "I would rather stay sharp tonight." "You're called dude," Ryan said. "It's a party. If you end up too out of it, you can crash here. You've got next week off." He looked at Olivia. "Shotgun?" he asked. Ethan was taken aback as she grinned and nodded keenly. "Yeah," she said. Ryan had the burning end in his mouth, and Olivia opened hers as he blew lots of smoke her way. She took it all in, coughed a bit. She hit her chest as she breathed in. "This is some good stuff," she said. Ethan was shocked and wondered who this lady was. Ryan gave the joint back to Lucas. "You see," Ryan said, nodding at Ethan. "This guy is the best at crunching numbers in our place. Man, he saved us a ton of money. Not just that, but without him, I wouldn't have this cool lady helping me out." Olivia gave him a smile, and Ethan saw it wasn't just a normal thank you smile. It had something more. He also saw how she paid close attention to everything he said. "Really," Ryan said, looking at Ethan. "I think of her as my office partner." He touched Olivia's leg, and Ethan thought he saw Ryan's hand move up her skirt. Ethan saw Olivia blush for a second before Ryan moved his hand away. "Honestly, I would be a mess without her," Ryan added. "Me too," Ethan said, watching Ryan. He noticed that Olivia looked down for a second. "They'll be right back." "Need the bathroom," Ethan said, breaking the quiet in the room. "Sure," Ryan said. "It's down the hall, first door on your left." Ethan got up and went into the bathroom. He locked the door, looked in the mirror, and thought hard. Top of his thoughts was that Olivia might be seeing Ryan behind his back. Ryan was right about one thing: Ethan was a top-notch number guy because he looked at the small stuff. It was something Samuel showed him when he started. "Look, kid, it's not all about the numbers in any deal. The tricky bits are always hidden in the small stuff," the old man said. "Keep an eye on those, trust your feeling, and you'll do fine." Ethan kept those words close, and they always helped him. Now he had other small things to figure out. First, there was the thing about Olivia's dress, or the lack of it. Then how she was with Ryan. Third, her using drugs. He never saw her do that before. They never even tried them together. But now here she was, happy to take what Ryan gave her. Then how she acted when Ryan touched her and what Ryan called her work wife. What was that? Plus all the small things he picked up on for 5 months. All this added up to big trouble, maybe even the end of their marriage. He felt like something bad was going to go down, and he knew he had to leave with proof. He thought about just grabbing Olivia and going, but that would likely just lead to a big argument and put off what seemed sure to come. He saw his cell phone peeking out of his shirt pocket. That was it. He took out his phone, started recording a video, and then put it back in his pocket. After using the bathroom and washing his hands, he got ready to face whatever was outside the door. As he walked back in, he saw Olivia quickly sit up from the coffee table. He noticed a few small bits of white powder on her nose, likely from sniffing cocaine. Ryan and the other 3 men had white powder on their noses too. He saw guilt on her face. He sipped from his glass and saw tiny bits of some powder in it. What the heck? He put the glass down, seeing everyone's eyes on him. He tried to speak but just felt so tired and couldn't get the words out right. You okay? Olivia's voice came to him. He looked at her all confused, words lost. Ryan and the 3 men got up. Olivia grabbed Ryan's arm as she stood too. He looked at everyone, wondering what was next. Trying to stand was too hard for him. How about a short nap, Ethan buddy? Ryan said, as his feet were lifted onto the couch by the others. Ethan couldn't move or speak as Olivia took off his shoes. He wanted to stand up, take her hand, and rush out, looking around for anything to help himself. He saw her thong on the seat where she and Ryan sat. He was mad at her. Olivia came to him and put a blanket over him. He wished he could push her away, but his arms wouldn't move. She bent down and kissed his forehead. I'm sorry, Ethan, she whispered. I really do love you. He couldn't keep his eyes open and fell asleep. When he woke up, it was dark. He wiped his eyes and looked around. It seemed no one else was up. He heard only snoring from upstairs. Checking his phone, he found out he had slept for over 3 hours. He stopped the video he was recording and put the phone away. He snuck up the stairs and peeked into the main bedroom, staying hidden. He saw Olivia naked, close to Ryan on the bed, her arm and leg over him. Seeing this made him feel sick. One of the 3 men was also without clothes next to Olivia on the big bed. The other 2 men were sleeping too, one on a couch and another in a big chair in the corner. He went down quietly. He wanted to know what they had given him, so he found a Tupperware in Ryan's kitchen. He put the drink inside and screwed the lid on tight. Back in the living room, he took Olivia's keys from her bag and saw a key he hadn't noticed before. It looked like a house key, but it wasn't one of theirs. Acting on a hunch, he pulled the key off and stuffed it in his pocket. Then he had another thought and grabbed Olivia's phone, putting it in his pants pocket. He planned on going through it later on. Pulling his wedding ring off, he set it carefully on the top of her purse so she would easily see it. He put his shoes back on and crept to the door. Details, he thought to himself. He looked around but didn't see a security system or a console anywhere near the door. Opening the front door, he tried the key. He took off Olivia's ring. It fit perfectly, just as he thought it might. He quietly closed the door behind him, locking it with her key. He got in his car, closing the door as quietly as he could. He backed out of the driveway and left, not turning his lights on until he was on the street. He had an idea and pulled into a convenience store. He pulled out his phone and looked up his old friend, Chris Hunter. In the service, Ethan knew him as Corporal Evans, but all his friends simply called him Mason. After he left the service, he started his own private investigative firm, and Ethan helped him with the financial details. Hello? A sleepy Mason said when he answered the phone. Hey Mason, it's me, Ethan, Ethan said. Sorry to call so late, but I need your help. What's up, Ethan? Mason asked. You get in a bar fight and need me to bail you out or something? Not quite, Ethan said. Can you be at my place in about 15 or 20 minutes? Yeah, sure, Mason said. Everything all right? What's going on? I would rather not talk about it over the phone, Ethan said. Gotcha, Mason said. They'll see you in about 20 minutes. Thanks, buddy, Ethan said. I appreciate it. Hey, Semper Fi, do or die, right? Mason asked. Ethan chuckled. Mason liked to say that a lot. Aura, Ethan said. They ended the call and Ethan looked at the store. He thought to himself. He bought a 12-pack of beer and a couple packs of cigarettes. He hadn't lit a smoke since his army days, but now he felt like if he didn't do something quick, he'd end up hitting something or someone. When he got home, he threw the beer in the fridge, snagging one for himself. He tore into a pack of smokes and fired one up as he flopped onto the couch, using a gift dish with their photo in it for an ashtray. It was a wedding gift for them, and Olivia liked to fill it with sweets. He didn't mind if Olivia would nag about the smoke smell, not after what went down earlier. Just then, the doorbell rang, and it was Mason. He let his buddy in and handed him a beer. What's going on? Mason asked as he cracked open his beer. Ethan spilled the beans about the mess from before. Damn, Mason said after hearing it all. Ethan passed him the bottle with the spiked wine. Can you check this out? He asked. Mason nodded. Sure, but it might take till Monday or Tuesday to know anything, Mason said. I also need all you have on Logan Carter, Zachary Johnson, Robert Davis, and Daniel Brooks, Ethan said. Johnson works at Carter Engineering, no clue what he does. He pulled up a video on his phone, searching for a shot of all four. Harry's a pic, not great though. Got it, said Mason. You need eyes inside his place and yours too if you can do it, Ethan said. Harry's a key. No sign of an alarm, but who knows? Mason took the key and looked it over. Right, he said. But you get this won't work in court. Yeah, I knew, Ethan said. This is just for us. I really don't care about what's right or wrong now. I get you, Mason said. Ethan gave Mason a spare key to his place. Take this key, Ethan said. He scribbled a 4-number code and handed it over. And this is to get past my alarm. I might not need the key. I can set up some tech gear while I'm here, Mason offered, giving the key back. Top-notch cameras, sound gear, everything. I can even catch what's said on your phone. Do it, Ethan agreed. What will this cost me? Don't stress, Mason replied. You helped me big time in Iraq. It's the least I can do. Thanks, buddy, Ethan said. At least let me pay your costs. Fine if you want, Mason said. What else you got? We only saw a bit of your video. Let's watch some and look for hints. Ethan played the video again from the top. Hold on there, Mason said. Ethan hit pause. Can you go back a bit? Ethan rewound, and they saw Olivia finish a line of white powder on the table. Ethan stopped the video. Damn, he murmured. I caught her sitting back, but there's clearly white powder on the table. Sure looks like it, Mason noted. Ever seen Olivia do that before? Ethan shook his head. Nope, he answered. All right, let's see what else we got, Mason said. Ethan hit play, and they saw when Ethan sat down across from Olivia. Wait, Mason said. Ethan paused the video again. What's that? He pointed at something on the other chair. Ethan squinted and saw it was Olivia's underwear. Oh man, he said. I saw that just before I blacked out, but I thought my eyes were tricking me. She must have taken it off right after I went to the bathroom. He played the video, and they could see when the drug began to hit Ethan. They saw the camera aiming up as he lay down and looked as the other four stared down at him. They heard Olivia ask if he was okay and Ryan telling him to nap. Then they saw Olivia bend over him and whisper in his ear. Ethan remembered this, but he couldn't recall what came next. You sure you don't want to tie him up and have him watch us? Lucas asked. No, Olivia said. This is enough for tonight. We have all week, you know. We can always go further if he doesn't fit in, Ryan said. You know, Nick likes guys and girls. Maybe he could show old Ethan a new side of fun, he added, making everyone laugh. Ethan felt his cheeks get hot as he heard Olivia join in. That I would like to see, she said. Really? They heard Kevin ask. You'd let me do that with your man? Why not? She said. Maybe if you're kind, you can get him to do more while I join in with a toy. They all laughed again. Wow, never had a Marine before, Kevin said. I bet he can't do it as well as you, though. Ethan had to stop himself from smashing his phone. But really, Ryan, is he going to be okay? You didn't give him too much, right? Olivia checked. No worries, Ryan said. He'll sleep for about 12 hours, wake up a bit off. He'll think he just had too much to drink. Tomorrow, I'll show him the really strong stuff. By this time next week, Ethan here will love it. Maybe I'll even make him yearn for me. Shame his dad can't see his hero fall. Is that why you're mad at him? They heard Olivia ask. All through college, that's all I heard about. Ethan going to school while serving his country, how he worked hard while fighting for America. Sometimes I felt Dad wished Ethan was his son instead of me. Well, guess what, Dad? Now I'm the boss of Ethan. I got his girl, and soon your top guy will be lost to bad stuff. They all laughed at that. Are you guys with me? He asked. They heard them all say yes. How about you, Olivia? You in? If not, say now and you're out with him. I'm in, Olivia said. I've come to like this too much to leave. They think she meant liking Ryan's thing, as we couldn't see what she was talking about. Okay then, Ryan said. Let's go up and start the fun. Good, Olivia said as they walked up. This time, I want you guys to fill me up. They couldn't see the move, but they heard sounds of them being together from the room. Ethan stopped the video and put his head down. Mason put his hand on Ethan's shoulder. I know this is hard, but we'll help you, he said. Ethan nodded. Thanks, Mason, he said. What will you do? Mason asked. I'm leaving her, no doubt, Ethan said. I get it, Mason said. Why don't you take a break from here for a bit? Let me and the team handle this. What are you planning to do? Ethan asked. It's best if you don't know, Mason said. But I'll say this. We just saw a bad plan. If I can, someone will end up in jail. But you need to get away for a while. I can help, Ethan said. Mason shook his head. No, Mason said. You're at risk now and we don't want you facing them. Remember old Gunny Johnson? He's retired in Houston now. He owes me a few favors. He said he'd find me a place if I ever came to Houston. I'll call him and see what he can do for you. Ethan nodded. Okay, he said. Let me set up the sound and video here, then I'll go. You got to stay put. Okay? Ethan nodded. Thanks, Mason. You're a real pal. I'm thankful, Ethan said. Mason grinned. Always loyal, buddy. Go all out, Mason said. Hell yeah, Ethan replied. He went to the back deck with a beer as Mason put sound and video gear in the living room and bedrooms. Mason also hooked into the house phone. He made it so all sound and video saved to a cloud thing online. After done, he gave Ethan the web place and how to get in to see the files. He showed Ethan the button to turn the spy gear on or off. I'll ring Gunny tomorrow and tell you what's up, Mason said. Well, fix this. Don't mess up, you got it? I got it, Mason, Ethan said. Hope so, Ethan, he said. Stay strong, mate. I'll ring you. I will, Mason, Ethan said. Thanks a ton for all. After Mason left, Ethan went on his computer and checked his bank stuff. He had an old account just to himself from before he wed Olivia. He put 10 of what he made in it just in case. He hoped to spend it on a cruise for Olivia as a surprise, but that's over now. He moved half from their shared bank to his old one, then paid off and cut their shared cards. He had a card just to himself from the old account. Closing that down, he packed clothes for a few days and put the bags in his car. Back inside, he saw their wedding photo on the wall above the fireplace. Olivia looked so pretty in her wedding dress. He was so happy then, thinking he was so lucky. But not now. Mad at her cheating, he grabbed a big knife and cut up the photo. Once done, he looked around and took down every photo showing Olivia. He threw them all into the fireplace. He ran upstairs, grabbed her wedding dress from the closet, and threw that into the fire too. He thought about lighting it up right then but decided to wait. At that moment, he was full of deep, dark hate for her and wanted her to see their marriage burn with her own eyes. Then he got another idea. With a beer in hand, he went back to the couch and picked up his phone. He sent the video to himself and checked it on his laptop. He wrote a simple, clear letter to every person on the board and to David, the temporary CEO, explaining what had happened. He remembered a tip from Samuel: the board didn't like threats, but they would listen to a careful breakdown of events. He didn't know David well, having only talked to him a few times, but he hoped he was as sensible as the board members. He didn't threaten anyone, but he pointed out that Ryan, as a leader, was supposed to follow certain rules about behavior. His actions, along with his wife's, were the exact kind of wrongs these rules aimed to stop. He also pointed out these wrongs were against the law and could lead to big problems and shame, the kind that could wreck a firm like Carter Financial. He shared his long history with the company, his deep respect for Samuel, and his hope that they would act rightly. He went over his words, tweaking a bit here and there. Happy at last, he wrote an email, attached the letter and the video, and sent it to David and every board member. He told them he'd be off for a week, but reachable by email or phone. He guessed he'd hear nothing until Tuesday, and by then, he planned to leave this place. He sat back, lit a cigarette, and put it in the candy dish, letting the heat touch Olivia's picture. That's what he wanted to do to her right then. He picked up her phone, knowing the code since he set it up for her. Going through her texts made him madder. It seemed they had been together for 9 months, but only in the last 3 did Olivia start being mean to him about Ryan. Of course, he thought her being with Ryan was mean enough. He found a lot of pictures of a man's private part, which Ethan had to say was big. He wondered if it was Ryan's or someone else's. There were other pictures too, pictures of Ryan and Olivia being close and dancing, maybe in Austin, and pictures of Olivia with signs of being with more than one man. Other pictures showed her with 2 men at once. One showed a big man behind her and Ryan in front. He wondered who took these pictures and whether they were taken with this phone or another. She also had videos on the phone, videos of her with Ryan and other men, including the 3 from the party. No wonder she acted like she knew them, he thought. So this is what she did while saying she was on work trips. He saved everything he could and sent it to himself using her phone. By then, he had finished 6 beers and half a pack of cigarettes, putting them out on her picture in the dish. He looked outside and saw the dawn. Soon he thought she would wake up and find out he was gone. He thought she'd be up soon, so he grabbed his gun, checked it was ready, and locked his door twice. Then he laid down on the sofa with the gun close and tried to sleep. Olivia woke and saw it was 8:30 by the clock next to Ryan's bed. She got up, went to wash up, and by the time she was done, Ryan and the rest were awake. Ryan put on a robe and asked, "Olivia, want to help make breakfast? Ethan might want coffee if he's up." "Yeah, okay," she said. She wore a robe, went down barefoot to the kitchen, started coffee, and went to wake her husband in the living room. Then she saw he wasn't there. The blanket shed put on him was moved, and his shoes were missing. She ran around the ground floor, thinking he might be in the washroom, but he wasn't. Looking out the front window, she saw their car was gone. She turned and saw his ring on her purse on the coffee table. "Oh no," she gasped. She ran upstairs, calling out. Ryan caught her as she ran into their bedroom. "What's wrong?" Ryan asked. "He's gone," she said. "Gone? What do you mean?" he asked. "He's gone, damn it," she yelled. "He got up in the night and left, took the car and left his ring." "Damn," Ryan said. "You better call him, see where he is. Tell him to come get you." "Okay," she said, running back down. She put Ethan's ring in her purse and looked for her phone, but it was missing. She was sure she had it with her last night. Ryan was now downstairs too. "I can't find my phone," she said. "It's fine," Ryan said. "Use the landline." "You don't get it," she said. "I always have it with me. It's got messages and the photos and videos you sent. If he's got it, he's seen them." "Don't sweat it," Ryan said. "We just need to get him here. Me and the guys will handle it. Call him." Olivia nodded and picked up the phone in Ryan's place. Her hands shook as she dialed Ethan's number, hoping he'd pick up. "Hello," Ethan said, sounding like he just woke up. "Ethan, it's me," she said softly. "What do you want?" he barked. Olivia jumped. He had never talked to her like that. She knew he had to be really mad. She had no clue. "Ethan, you weren't here when I woke up and I got scared," she said. "Are you okay? Why do you care?" He snapped. "Please, I need you to come get me at Ryan's," she tried. "Please." Ethan laughed. "No way," he snapped. "I'm not dumb anymore. Don't call me sweet names again." "Ethan, don't be mad," she begged. "I do love you." "Yeah, right," he said. "Tell me another." "Ethan, we have to talk," she said. "You're right, we do," he agreed. "Then come get me at Ryan's," she said. "We can talk on the way back." "Nope," he said, making her flinch again. "I'm not coming over. If you want to come home, walk or get an Uber. We just need to talk about breaking up." "What do you mean, breaking up?" she asked. "That's what happens when people divorce," he said coldly. "I don't want a divorce," she said. "Well, I didn't want to be tricked and cheated on," he said. "Get back home if you need to talk. But hear me, don't let Ryan or any of those guys bring you. I have a gun, and if they come in my house, I'll shoot them dead. I swear. You got that, girl?" "Okay, I'll grab an Uber," she said. "Do that," Ethan said, "and bring cash or your bank card." "Why?" she asked. "'Cause your credit card's dead," he said. "Why is my credit card dead?" she asked. "I cut it off last night," he said. "Oh," she said, low. "You know where my phone is?" "Yeah, it's on the coffee table," Ethan said. "Found a whole bunch of pics and videos. Now I see what you and that jerk were doing when you said you were on work trips. They'll help me in the divorce." "Oh my God," she whispered. "Ethan, I'm so sorry," she said. "I didn't want to hurt you." "Shut up and keep your lies to someone who cares," he said. "If you want to talk, do it now and come alone." "They'll be there," she said, ending the call. She put the phone down and looked at Ryan. "Well?" Ryan asked. "He won't come," she said. "He said I need to go to him." "Fine," Ryan said. "Well, take you." She shook her head. "No," she said. "He got a gun and said he'd shoot you. I think he means it." He was so mad. Like I've never heard before. Ryan thought, then went to his study. He came back with a syringe. "Erase the plan," he said. "Put this in your purse. Call an Uber and we'll follow you. When you get a chance, stab him with it. All of it. Then call me. We'll be close. We'll grab him, put him in my car's trunk." "What's this?" she asked. "It's a mix I made for him," Ryan said. "Some strong stuff, smack, and a thing to knock him out. It works fast. Don't fret, it won't harm him. Just jab him with it, and when he's down, call me." Okay, he gave her the needle, and she slipped it into her bag. "All right," she said. "Just swear you won't hurt him." "We'll try," Ryan said. "Right, guys?" he said, looking at his three pals who chuckled. He looked back at Olivia. "Go on, book your ride." She booked an Uber for herself in 30 minutes and went upstairs to get ready. After her ride came, she took off. Ryan and his mates followed her in their car, parking a block away. They didn't see the white van parked across from Ryan's place. Soon after he talked to Olivia, Ethan's phone buzzed again. It was Mason calling. "What's going on?" he asked. "Just letting you know, some of my guys heard a talk between your wife and her friends," Mason said. "What?" Ethan asked. "How?" "Just the magic of tech, mate," he said. "It's crazy what we can hear these days with a fancy mic. Your wife is catching an Uber, and her gang is tailing her. They plan to drug you, then take you. Whatever it is, it's in her bag. She's going to use it on you when she can. My team will tail Ryan and his group once they set off." "Man," Ethan said. "Yep," Mason said. "Just stay sharp. He'll text when they head out. Turn on the spy tools when she arrives, and he'll keep an eye out. I'm not far. He'll call the cops when it's time. Be ready." "Okay," Ethan said. "Thanks." He waited and then got a text. "They're on the move. It's go time," Ethan told himself. He had around 20 minutes before they came, so he hid the shotgun where he was sure Olivia wouldn't easily see it and turned on the spy gear. Then he went to the kitchen and got a plastic bag for the syringe and a tissue. He saw the Uber stop in front of his house and watched as Olivia paid the driver and stepped out. She looked really worried and held her purse tight over her left shoulder. He flipped the switch to light up the fireplace and watched as the pictures and her dress started to burn. She came to the door and opened it slowly. She made a face as she smelled the smoke. Ethan didn't care. Her eyes popped when she saw the ruined portrait above the fireplace and then her dress and photos turning to dust. "My wedding dress," she cried out. "Our photos. Ethan, why are you doing this?" Tears ran down her cheeks, but he felt nothing. "I wanted you to see what you did to us," he said. She saw the beer bottles and cigarette butts in her sweet candy dish. "I thought you couldn't drink much," she said. "And I never knew you smoked." "I did smoke but quit," he said. "And about drinking, truth is, I turn real mean when I'm drunk. Last time, I almost beat a man to death. He was bigger than me. I chose never to get drunk again, just like you chose to be with Ryan." "Oh my God, Ethan," she sobbed. "What did I do?" "You tell me," he said. "What happened to you? You were the nicest, calmest person I knew. Did you take dumb pills? Did Ryan hit you with some crazy love beam? Since when do you do drugs? And all these men you're with customers mostly," she said low. "Ryan made me do it." "Great," Ethan said. "You know what you did could make Carter's money go under. Tell me, when did you first want to drug me and hurt me? Was this your plan? Or did Ryan make you do it?" She stared at him, shocked. "I didn't," she started, but Ethan stopped her. "Shut it," he snapped, pulling out his phone. He played a video and let her listen to her own voice and her friends talking while they stood over him. She went pale hearing her own words. "How did you find that?" she asked. "It's not important," he said. "What matters is David and the board saw this video. The cops will see it too. We're done, and if I have a say, you'll be behind bars for a long time. I just want to know why." "You don't get it," she said. "It's a long tale. Maybe you can tell me when I'm less mad," Ethan said. He watched her as she tried to open her bag, but before she could, he grabbed it, spilling its contents on the table. He saw a syringe with dark stuff inside and picked it up with a tissue. "Was this for me?" he asked. "Do you even know what's in this?" "Not really," she said. "Not really?" he mocked. "So you were going to inject me, not knowing what it could do. You're twisted, you know that? Did Ryan make you do it?" She nodded. "Yes," she said softly. "If Ryan told you to hurt yourself, would you?" he asked. "Let me guess. You inject me, then call him to come get me, right?" Shamefully, she nodded again. "Yes," she said. "Okay," Ethan said. "You're going to call Ryan. Put it on speaker so I can hear both sides. You're going to tell Ryan you did what he asked," Ethan said. "He'll handle it from there. But don't you let on that I'm waiting for him. Got it? So I'm setting him up?" she asked. "Yes," Ethan said. "Any questions?" She shook her head. "No," she said. "I get it." "Good," Ethan said. "Now do it and no funny stuff." Ethan watched as she made the call and put the phone so all could hear. "Ryan, it's me, Olivia," she said. "It's done. Ethan's out." "Good job," Ryan said. "Well, come over now." She hung up and looked at Ethan. "He's going to be mad when he sees you're not really out," she said. "Too bad for him," Ethan said. "Remember, no hints, no giving it away, or I might take you out myself." He sat back and waited for Ryan to show. Through the window, he saw Ryan and his 3 friends come in. He closed his eyes just a bit but kept watching. Ryan came in, looked around, then walked towards Ethan. You did good, he told Olivia. Now we're going to shove him in the car. Ryan bent down to grab Ethan, but before he could touch him, Ethan's eyes snapped open. Ryan was caught off guard, and Ethan hit him hard in the throat. Ryan stumbled back, and Ethan got up. Ryan tried to clear his head, but Ethan kicked him hard. The other three tried to jump in, but Ethan's crew following them held them back. Ryan was down, hurting bad. Ethan moved in, knife in hand, and pulled Ryan's head back. Say sorry to God, Ethan hissed. I'm going to end you. Ryan was so scared he wet himself as Olivia watched in shock. Who was this man? She wondered, as Ethan pushed the knife closer. Mason stepped in. Enough, Mason said from the doorway. Stop, yelled Mason, catching all eyes. Don't do it. Drop that knife. Cops are coming. He needs to go, Ethan yelled. By then, Mason was by Ryan on the ground. Yeah, he's bad and should be gone, Mason spoke, but not by you. If you do it, he won't feel a thing. Hell just be dust. But you'll be locked up. You want him to pay, but that's no payback. This isn't like war, pal. Let the law handle it. I'm asking you as a mate. Let's not do this. Let the cops take him. Hell get what's coming. All of them will. Ethan looked at his buddy. He could see Ryan scared, shaking. He slowly moved the knife away and got up. Down there, Ryan was crying. Mason flipped him so he faced down and tied his hands back. Mason then told Olivia, you two down. And she did, facing down, hands back. Tears dropped as she saw a photo of her and Ethan burn up. Ethan watched from the sofa as Mason checked the ties on both Olivia and Ryan. His crew had 3 more tied up outside. They heard cop cars pull up. Give me your phone, said Mason. They'll talk to the cops first. Ethan handed it over and watched as Mason went out. Ryan lifted his head, looking at Ethan. The smirk was gone. Seems he needed a real scare to lose it. You know what? Dad did like you more, Ryan said. Ethan shook his head. Not true, Ryan, Ethan said. He just wished you'd grow up to fill his shoes. Did you almost chop my head off? Ryan asked. I guess we won't know, will we? Ethan replied. But I can tell you this. Where you're going, the folks won't think twice like I did. And if you ever come at me again, I won't think twice either. Ryan laid back, quiet. 3 big cops came in and looked around. They picked up Ryan and Olivia, told them their rights, and took them to their cars. One cop saw the needle in a bag on the table and picked it up. Was this for you? He asked Ethan. Yes, he said. The cop wrote down what Ethan said. After a bit, he looked at Ethan. You know you're lucky, right? He said. Nope, Ethan said. My Marine buddy had my back. The cop smiled and shook his head. Semper Fi, the cop said, shaking Ethan's hand. Ora, Ethan replied. After they left, Mason walked into the room and sat down. Got another one of those? He asked, nodding at the beers. I might have a few, Ethan said. Isn't it a bit early after what happened? No, Mason said, as Ethan gave him a beer. How you feeling? Okay, Ethan said. Feels like when I was in Iraq. Need to cool off a bit. About that, Mason said. I talked to Gunny this morning. He said he's got it all sorted if you want to hit Houston for a few days. Gave me his number for you. I might just do that, Ethan said. Got some stuff to sort out here first. Mason pulled out a couple of cards and gave them to Ethan. Erase Gunny's number, he said. And this other one is for a divorce lawyer, Monica Fields. She's tough, really hates cheaters. I made the call to her this morning. She's waiting for you to come by her office at 8 a.m. sharp next Monday, Mason said. Thanks, Ethan said, his head moving up and down. For everything. Hey, always together, bro. All in, Mason said. Ethan laughed at that. Yeah, big time, he said back. After they had finished their drink, Mason got up and looked around. This place looks like it needs a clean, so we'll head out, he said. See you, buddy, Ethan said. They'll swing by later to pick up all the spy stuff. Mason left, and Ethan started to clean up the house. Later that day, a call came from David Lee. Ethan, it's David Lee, the older guy said when Ethan picked up the phone. Yes, Mr. Lee. How can I help? Ethan asked. Just call me David, he said. I saw your email and the video. The board and I all think you're right about what you wrote, which was really something. Thanks, David, Ethan said. You're welcome, he replied. We also think Olivia and Ryan need to go for good. They're locked up now. I'm going to handle it myself at the jail. And there's more. What's up? Ethan asked. We think you should take a break, cool off a bit, David said. Got any place in mind? A buddy said he'd have me in Houston for a few days, Ethan said. Got a lawyer meeting Monday, then I'm off. Houston, David said. Sounds perfect to forget all this for a while. Have a good trip, Ethan. We'll see you back in a week from Monday. Thanks, David. He'll do that, Ethan said. Just one more thing, David said. With Ryan gone, we all think you're the right guy for his spot. Me? Ethan said. Sure, David said. We like how you did things, and the top folks have been watching you for some time. They're really happy with your job. You'll get a bigger pay and some extra stuff with that step up, but you earned it. Thanks, David, Ethan said. Hold off on thanking me, David said. First off, we need you to keep an eye on the outside checkup we're having. We got folks from another group coming to look over all that Ryan did while he was here. They'll talk to you and you'll let me know what they find, good or bad. That sounds smart, Ethan said. Since I sent that email, I found out Ryan made Olivia do bad things with some of our clients. Oh no, David said. They'll trust you to handle it. For now, have a good trip, and we'll catch up a week from Monday. See you then, David, Ethan said. Thanks. After talking with David, Ethan got his house in order, then cut the grass like he did every Saturday. He called Gunny Johnson later and they caught up. Want to come out for a bit? Have some fun? Gunny asked. Yeah, sure, Ethan said. Great, Gunny said. Come over. They'll sort you out with a nice place and show you around. Then you're on your own. Just remember, this is Los Houston, not Bangkok. They had a good laugh at that. They'll keep that in mind, Gunny, Ethan said. See you Monday night. See you, Ethan, Gunny said. Mason dropped by to pick up his stuff. Quick news, Mason said. Cops raided Ryan's spot and found a ton loads of drugs, gear, sex things, videos, the lot. Looks like Ryan was into some messed up stuff. My buddy on the force thinks they might even find kid video in there. Wow, Ethan said. After dinner, Ethan was so tired he went right to sleep. The next day, he started throwing away all of Olivia's stuff into trash bags. He put them in the garage, planning to wait before giving them away, just in case she ended up in jail. While cleaning out her clothes, he found a really big black toy that scared him. It was huge, like a hat. He guessed that was for him, and it made him shiver. He also found something weird he couldn't name. After looking it up, he found out it was for keeping a man from enjoying himself too much. It seemed there was no end to how bad she could be. He bagged up her things and put them in the garage. The next morning, he was at lawyer Monica Fields's place by 8. She took him in at once. She read his papers and listened as he talked. She told him about how California splits things in a divorce. Since they didn't have kids and the house was his first, he'd likely keep it. She said the money left in their shared bank would probably go to Olivia, but she couldn't use her cheating against her in court. The crimes Olivia might go to jail for, though, could affect things. Sophia also thought it was not likely he'd have to give money to Olivia while she was locked up. But that might change when she was out. He'll try to make this easy, Sophia said. He'll get the papers ready and send them to her. If she agrees, we'll go to the judge. Then we wait 9 months, Ethan said. Yes. Before he left, he paid her for her work. He made a stop at the local jail to tell Olivia he was getting a divorce. He sat down and watched as she was let in. She looked tired, and the orange outfit didn't suit her at all. They picked up phones to talk with a thick glass between them. Hi, Olivia, Ethan said. Hi, Ethan, she replied. I went to see a lawyer today. I'm going to get a divorce, he said. I guessed you might, she said. When do you go to court? He asked. Tomorrow morning, she said. The DA wants to keep us in jail with no bail. That's probably for the best, he said. Tell me the truth now. What's that? She asked. How did things get so bad? He asked. She looked ashamed. At first, the job was going well, she said. Ryan seemed okay. But everything changed after Samuel died. Ryan was mad he didn't get promoted and blamed you, thinking his dad had set it up for you. That's nuts, Ethan said. Samuel always hoped Ryan would take over someday. I know, she said. We went to Austin that weekend at a club with some clients. We danced and drank. Sure, I flirted a bit but didn't think it was too much. Suddenly, I felt amazing, and the next thing I ended up in bed with 2 of the guys. Ryan joined later. She paused. The next day, I saw what had happened and felt so bad, she said. Then Ryan showed me some photos and videos he took. He said he'd show them to you unless I did what he wanted. So he forced you to do things, Ethan said. And I bet he gave you drugs too. He did, she said. He told me later. Not shocked, Ethan said. They found lots of drugs at his place, even ones for making people fall asleep without knowing. Did he make you take drugs like cocaine? She nodded. Yes, she said. And weed and other stuff. So how many of our people did you sleep with? Ethan asked. She just shrugged. I don't know, she said. Lots. Ryan set it up, and that's what I did when we went out. Ethan shook his head. I found some of your things, Ethan said. Did you plan to use them on me? She started to cry. Yes, she said, crying. I'm sorry. I didn't want to. You seemed into it, Ethan said. Drugging me, attacking me, making me a toy for Ryan's fun. Was our dinner about the Henderson project? She shook her head. No, she said. It was for planning Friday's party. So you planned it all before? Ethan asked. Olivia nodded. Yes, she said softly. I'm sorry, Ethan. That's the only thing you've said that I believe, he told her. Can you forgive me? She asked. He laughed a bit before he answered. No way, he said. You were with that jerk and who knows how many more. Then you plotted to drug me and hurt me. You're crazy. And don't even think about staying friends. I get it, Ethan, she said. I hope it was worth it for you, he said. Bye, Olivia. He hung up and saw her do the same, tears on her face. He went home, packed, and left for Houston. He met Gunny Johnson there and they had a good time. At dinner later, Gunny showed him around and offered tips for the game tables, then walked him to his room. Ethan walked in and saw a young girl with dark hair sitting on the bed. She stood up when they came in. Ethan, meet Candy, Gunny Johnson said. She'll show you around while you're here. Gunny, I don't think I need this, Ethan said. Don't worry, son, Gunny said. After what happened with your wife, this is what you need. Have fun and what happens here stays here. They all laughed. Well, I have to go. Have fun, he said and left. Ethan looked at Candy. Are you, he started. Escort, Candy cut in. Call girl? Not anymore. Gunny helped me get out of a bad spot. Now I'm clean, in school and working a real job. He told me about you and asked if I would spend time with you. That's it. If you want, I can go and you won't see me again. No, Ethan said. Gunny's right. I could use someone to talk to. And you seem nice. Want to go out for a drink? That sounds good, she said with a smile. They went out, had drinks, talked and danced for hours, then came back to his room. She stayed the night and made him forget his worries. He woke up to her, making him feel good. After they showered together and got ready. I have class today, but I can meet you here tonight, she said. Let's do that, he said. They kissed and she left. He had breakfast, then went to the casino. He won $700 listening to Gunny's advice. He spent it on dinner, drinks, and a show with Candy that night. She made him happy again. The week went on like this, and by Friday he was ready to go back to his life. Candy was sad to watch him leave, but she got it. She gave him her phone number and email in case he ever wanted to reach out. He liked her but didn't see it turning into something big. She was way younger and had her whole life to live yet. He thought, who knows? He drove home, smiling, thinking of Candy. Once home, he caught up on news about Olivia and her group. The judge, after seeing proof from the lawyer, made them stay in jail with no way to get out. He also heard from Sophia that Olivia got the divorce papers. Sophia said Olivia signed them right away, and they were now with the court. In 6 months, he'd be free from her. On Monday, he went back to work to find his stuff in Ryan's old office. Everyone said hi and good luck in his new job. He got comfy in his new space and met the outside checkers. He helped them get ready and met his new helper, Linda Perez. He had known her since she joined the company years ago. He liked Linda Perez, knew she was married, and had done well in her job before. She also knew about his tough time and was kind not to bring it up. The checkup found lots of wrongs in Ryan's work. Ryan had lied about money on trips with Olivia. Then they found out Ryan messed up some client accounts. They told the SEC and Ryan ended up facing big trouble with the law. Ethan and David had to spend lots of time fixing the problems Ryan left. Thankfully, they didn't lose any clients due to their quick fix, but they had many tough talks with other bosses who were, of course, upset. Through this time, Ethan kept in touch with Candy, mostly by emails. Soon, she told him that she found someone at school, and they were really into each other. He wasn't shocked and wished her the best. At the same time, Olivia and Ryan's legal fights went on, with new charges added and lots of back and forth in court. Ethan ended up testifying against his wife and her group, even though her lawyer told him he didn't have to do it since she was his wife. I know I don't have to, but I choose to, he said to her lawyer. Plus, she won't be my wife much longer. The jury couldn't believe what they heard from him, and they were even more stunned when they saw the video Ethan recorded that Friday night. Then came the day when the jury was ready to share their decision. Ethan and David were there in the courtroom and saw Olivia, Ryan, and the other three guys brought in. None could look Ethan in the eyes. By then, the trial was big news. The court got quiet, and the judge asked the jury if they had made their decision. The leader stood up and said they had. As everyone waited, the judge listed the crimes, which included plans to kidnap and hurt someone. Ryan had extra counts for the drugs found at his place and the bad photos and videos with young girls. They were found guilty on all counts. The judge said when they would be sentenced, and the 5 who were found guilty were taken away. Ethan and David left, dodging the many reporters trying to get their story. About 10 days later, they got their sentences. The judge was super mad at them all and really laid it on heavy. Ryan's 3 pals got off a bit easier but still had 20 years to face. Olivia got 25 years, maybe more, and Ryan was hit with 50 years. Plus, he also had to deal with big trouble from the SEC in another court. Olivia cried as they took her away. Ryan just hung his head low in shame when it was his turn to go. But about half a year later, Ryan was gone for good. He was found without his head in the shower. Seems like he made some folks mad with his cocky way. A month after that, Ethan was in his office doing work stuff when Linda Perez called him. "Mr. Miller, Dr. Sophia Harrison is here to see you," she said. That last name grabbed Ethan's ear. "Let her in," he said. The door opened, and in walked a nice-looking blonde lady. Her hair was long, and she wore a skirt that went down to her knees. She smiled and reached out her hand. "Good to meet you, Mr. Miller," she said. He shook her hand and asked her to sit. "Call me Ethan," he said. "Want something to drink? Coffee? Tea?" "Coffee's good," she said. "Black, please. And call me Kristen." Ethan told Linda Perez to get them coffee and sat back down. "Carter," Ethan said, eyeing her. "You related to Samuel? His kid, maybe?" She gave a smile and shook her head. "No," she said. "I'm his niece." "I get it," Ethan said. "I thought I knew all of Samuel's folks." "I've been tied up," she said. "I was in France when Uncle Samuel passed and couldn't make it back for his goodbye." "So what brings you here?" he asked. "I just wanted to meet the guy who beat my mean cousin," she said. "He wasn't your favorite?" "Huh?" Ethan asked. She shook her head. "No, not at all," she whispered. "I'm just happy he's finally got what was coming to him. I'm really sorry for what he did to you. From what I've heard, you didn't deserve it. And I'm sorry. My uncle told me a lot about you." "So you're a doc?" Ethan asked. "A doctor? No, I got a PhD in business stuff," she replied. "I teach at Stanford. My uncle and I like some of the same stuff, but I'm all about school stuff. And no, I don't want to be the big boss." Ethan chuckled at that. They kept talking until she said she had to go back to work. Ethan didn't want her to leave, and to be honest, he liked this woman. "Hey, Kristen," Ethan said. "I would love to keep talking, maybe over dinner if you don't mind hanging out with someone who just has an MBA. She smiled, her eyes shining. "Nothing wrong with an MBA," she said. "I would like going out with you. Dinner sounds good. How about Cheesecake Factory at 7 tonight?" She gave him a card with her number and where she lived. "Cheesecake Factory it is," Ethan said, taking the card. "They'll get you at 6:30. "Okay, see you then, Ethan." "It was nice meeting you," she said before leaving. That night, Ethan found out that Ryan had tried to hurt her right after she turned 18. Feeling shame and scared she might be blamed, she kept quiet, stayed away from Samuel and his people, and stayed away from men because of what Ryan did. She spent months talking to a therapist while in college. He told her his own story with Ryan and what happened with Olivia. Kristen was shocked but not surprised. "I'm so sorry," she said. Ethan and Kristen fell hard for each other after dating for a bit. When he popped the question, she jumped on him, covering him in kisses. "So is that a yes?" Ethan gasped for air. "No," she answered. "That's a big yes, Marine. Now pick me up and take me to bed." "You got it," Ethan said, lifting his future wife. He felt sure things were on the up. Thanks for watching. What would you do if you were in Ethan's shoes? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more gripping stories.